Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. I am one half of your hosting equation, Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my other half, Marcie.
Hello. I don't think
Hello.
I'd sound much cheery.
Well, we don't have a lot to be cheery about when we're going to talk about the Leafs. It's going to be a lot of ranting, fair warned. So I don't even think we have any housekeeping to get out of the way. I'm trying to think. I don't think we do. But yeah, so I think we'll start with the Leafs right off the bat.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way. Well, turns out the Leafs can lose in regulation and they can lose badly. So Leafs have played 2 games since our last episode where we were like, oh my God, Leafs destroyed the Penguins. We're so happy right now, you know. And then they go on to lose to New York Rangers and the Buffalo Sabres in back-to-back regulation losses, 5-2 against Rangers and a not so pretty 9-3 against Buffalo. So let's start with the better game to talk about, aka the one that's going to make me less mad when we talk about the Rangers a little bit. I don't even have very many notes about this game because so we're literally just going to talk about the game as a whole and we're not going to go through it like item by item. I first off want to say Austin Matthews is insane.
He's not real.
He's not, he's probably, is he the only bright spot about the Leafs right now? Is Austin Matthews the only good thing going for the Leafs right now? Is that a question that we're asking ourselves at this point in time of the season? Like, Leafs are have they hit 30 games yet?
Yeah, I think last night was 30.
Last night was 30. So they are, I don't know what that percentage is, but they've hit 30. We've hit 30 games. So obviously this is kind of like, we also have hit Christmas. Like Leafs have now played their last game before Christmas, and then they don't play again until the 27th. So they have actually, yeah, they don't play again.
Blue Jackets.
Oh, right, the Blue Jackets game tomorrow. I forgot. I was like, no, they play every Saturday now until the rest of the season, except for the All-Star break. Which is crazy. That's crazy. But yes, I was like, wait a minute, no, because they play the Blue Jackets in back-to-back games, which is insane. But I do like, obviously I don't know how exciting that game's going to be, but is it time we can't keep using the excuse for them that they're sick.
No, I feel like the Rangers game was probably like the last like at a push. Like they're like, obviously if they've been sick, then like the whole like fitness thing's gonna have gone a bit to shit. But the Rangers game was kind of like the last like at a push if you're looking for an excuse.
Also, that game, like, that was, yes, the Rangers game, but that game also was just really unlucky for the Leafs. Like, the bounces didn't go their way.
No.
They would have probably won the game. I think it's fair to say. They would have. Would they have? Yeah, they would have probably won the. Yeah. I mean, at least you can say, like, it would have probably gone to overtime. Had there not been 2 goals that had gone in that had gone off of their own players. Those first 2 goals bounced off of Leafs players, and Jones did not have a chance.
No.
That because one of them went off of, I think it was Lageson's skate, and then there was one of them that went off of Riley that literally it changed directions. Like Jones would have had the shot had it not gone off of Riley and gone to the other side of the net.
Yeah.
Right?
It's unfortunate.
So, because then you have a Panarin goal, which the insane shot, right? And I can't even. Oh, and then Braden Schneider.
Yeah.
I think that was like his second goal of the season or something.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, or was it his? Yeah, because it wasn't his first. But and then so you would have been 2-2. You wouldn't have gotten the Zibanejad empty net goal because you wouldn't have pulled your goalie. So fair to say that game probably would have gone to overtime.
Yeah. So now we got something out of it.
Yeah.
But
We can't predict the outcome of a Leafs overtime because who the fuck
the
knows?
Leafs are listening.
Who the fuck knows, right? But at least you would have gotten a point out of it at the end of the day, and it wouldn't have been a regulation loss, which, right? But anyways, and then I don't even want to talk about Buffalo.
No, I mean, if you want one way to describe how it went is my mum came into my room this morning and she went, "The Leafs played last night, didn't they?" And I went, "Yep." And she went, "How did they do?" And I literally just looked at her and said, "I don't want to talk about it." So then she sat on my bed and went, "Oh, it's fine. I'll Google it." And then she was like, it was like a bit of silence as she was like searching up, and then she just goes, "Oh."
Well,
And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, Elliot Freeman tweet.
Yep. It was like the silence at the same time. It's like,
Okay. Oh, we can talk about that a little bit later. It's not breaking news. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay. It's not crazy, but yeah, like, okay. Also, Austin Matthews is crazy.
not real.
He hits 25 goals in that game. He is the first player to 25.
It's like,
which including last night's game, because he did score against Buffalo. He is on pace to score 71 goals this season. Which, will he keep up that pace? Who knows? Again, cannot predict how whatever may befall in the Leafs, whether it be injury or something or other. But it is kind of one of those things to be like, could Austin Matthews hit 70 goals? That's a real question that we have to start asking ourselves at this point in time in the season, which is crazy. That's crazy to think about. Because
it's like, how?
Also to note about the Rangers game, it is the first game back for Timothy Liljegren.
Fuck yeah.
He is back in the lineup. I'm gonna make sure no. I was like, am I wrong about that? And I was like, no, I'm right. He didn't play against Pittsburgh. Did he play against Pittsburgh? No, he didn't.
No, he did because
oh my god, he did. Yeah. I'm so wrong. I'm so sorry. I
was like, that feels like a while ago.
I know. I was like, I'm spreading misinformation on
the
internet. Look at me spreading misinformation. But I will he did look pretty good against the Rangers.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he is a bright spot in the Leafs defense right now because there are some pairings for the Leafs defense that is not working, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Buffalo game in a little bit. But Giordano is still out. I do have that injury news. Giordano is still out, but will be expected to shift to day-to-day status after Christmas. So he's back skating with the team more. We could see him back maybe before the new year. If we don't see him back before the new year, like before New Year's, he probably will be like the second or the third, like, right after.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just checking you out. Oh, you talk.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I said I was sat on the sofa and couldn't bother getting up to turn the heating off, so the house is like a sauna. It's about 500 degrees. Look at it in here.
Did you not wake up this morning when I was playing the guitar?
No.
Because I thought you were awake.
No, I didn't wake up till 12.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know that, so I thought you were awake.
She was
So I
merrily
was playing guitar quite loudly. How didn't you wake up?
I regularly slept through the fire alarms last year, Olivia.
Yeah, but I feel like...
Right, well, when you've done talking, if you wish to have a gin.
Oh, you know what? I might have to take you up on that. We're talking about last night's Leafs game. So I might, Emma. So I will definitely be taking you up on
that. Right.
We'll just cut that bit out.
Just expose my heavy sleeping.
Breaking news: Marcie can sleep through quick. Yeah, I think Jones has been pretty great for the Leafs right now in the net as a third goalie, right? Like you have to think
Yeah.
he's a third goalie right now, and he may like he is surpassing Samsonov.
Oh yeah, like I'm not being funny, but if you told me like at the end of last
April?
season,
Yeah,
if you
May?
told me in April that fucking Martin Jones would be our starting goalie by Christmas,
I'd have called you. First of all, no offense to Martin Jones, did not follow the Kraken a lot last year. For me, the West Coast, hard for me to follow those teams in terms of individual players, just because I'm not staying up that late. There's a reason why my Western team is the Minnesota Wild. I can watch those games and not fall asleep halfway through. But I would probably have told you Martin Jones who, right? I probably would have been like, who's Martin Jones again?
Yeah.
No offense to Martin Jones. It's just he's played most of his career. I think for the most part, his entire career out west and for Kings and Sharks and Seattle. But yeah, like just crazy.
Yeah.
I thought, we were crazy for saying that Wool could be the starter by April at the start of the season. I loved the idea, but I thought you were crazy.
Yeah. It's like I remember everyone was like, I was sat there and I was like, Wall is gonna be our starter, like sooner than everyone's saying. And everyone's like, yeah, I mean, if he keeps playing good, then I suppose like he could be like our star by like next April. And I'm sat there like you do not know him like I know him.
You do not know him like I do. But yeah, so us buying our Wool jerseys at the end of the playoffs last year was a good investment of our money.
Yeah. Yeah, because
yeah. But yeah, will again, I'm trying to think, like, do you have anything else to add? I'm trying to think if we have anything else from that Rangers game oh yeah, Ty Domi was there. He's been going to quite a few Leafs games, home games actually. It's not the first since I don't want to like confirm that he still lives in Toronto or not. I'm pretty sure he does. Honestly, wouldn't surprise. Like, I actually probably could. I don't want to like guarantee it because I actually don't. I have certain insider information to some personal lives of Leafs players, but we won't get into that. Marcie knows because I told her. I'm like, I can't put that on in the show, but because that's like, but yeah, it's really funny how I know that information as well. But
you just randomly just drop stuff. You're like, oh, fun fact.
Fun fact. Perks of living in Toronto. It's one of those things where it's like people like, yeah, Toronto's a very big city, but it's smaller than people think when it comes to this sort of thing.
When it comes to the stuff that matters.
When it comes to the stuff that matters. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, I don't have a lot of notes on the Leafs in terms of the actual hockey that they played, but I think we can, I don't know, do you have anything else to add with the Rangers specifically?
I think I had a note that says Matthew Nice fuck it up girl. I don't know what for, but he was probably
I think he did have a couple good, I mean, we can talk about Matthew Nyes a little bit, I guess. Like, we have the time. We don't actually have a lot. Like, we have 2 games to cover, but like most of what we're going to say is negative. So Matthew Nyes I know we always say like he's been the physical force that the Leafs have needed on that on that top line for a long time. And I think part of that is they are drafting since he's been drafted for the Leafs. Like, I don't actually know what his hit stats are. I feel like I want to look that up. I don't know which site is going to have that for me. Hold on, Matthew Nyes hit stat. Here. StatMuse.
Oh, love of our lives.
Love StatMuse. Maybe StatMuse is the all-around hockey stat website that I've been talking about, where I was like, won it. That's his extra stats. Oh, here we go. He's got 51 hits on the hit 51. Here we go. So I'm using a combination of Hockey Reference and StatMuse here. 51 stats on the season, which is a 1.88 hits per game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good in 28 games.
And like saying that is like you've got to also bear in mind the fact that he's not realized that he is in fact.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like
big.
he didn't. I feel like from watching him, like he didn't realize that he was a big guy, until like quite a few games into this season. And I feel like we've seen him, Yeah,
it's like now he looks more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like on the ice where he's like, I can actually do this and I know it won't go bad. Like he knows what he's doing with it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and he'll win those puck battles along the boards.
Oh yeah, he's really good at that. Like watching, that's like the one thing I keep noticing. I'm like,
oh yeah,
he does not lose when he's fighting for the puck up against the boards. It's like,
which is good because you fish it out and then you got what, Matthews and Nylander.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not bad.
To pass to, and you're in your zone. Not your zone, you're in the offensive zone. Like, oh, that's great. It's great. I like that's been really good for the Leafs so far, and I think, not to be like, we knew he was going to have an impact, I feel like, going into the season, especially just the way he was last year in the limited games we saw him after his college season came to an end. And like him in the short time we saw him in the playoffs before he got concussed in the second round against Florida. But yeah, just great. That's all I have for the Rangers game. Let's talk about Buffalo. Buffalo coming off of a 9-4 loss to Columbus the game prior takes on Leafs at home. And what period was it Samsonov got pulled? I only watched this period. Was it the second?
It was about halfway through the second, I think.
Yeah. So I only watched the third period because I was at a family friend's house for a holiday dinner, and I was like trying to be polite and wait till everything was finished before I asked, could we put the Leafs game on? I also was watching the game on mute as well, so didn't get any of the commentary for that third period. But that third period was just bad to watch in general.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe the third goal that the Sabres scored, I was messaging one of our friends. I was like, yeah, at what point do we pull Sammy? Because
I never saw the goals for. I think I've only seen the Owen Power one because I just saw clips of it on Twitter. But
from Cal.
From Cal. Trust him to give us the Owen Power goal. But I'm trying to think. Were they just 3 bad goals?
They weren't brilliant. I can't remember them specifically because I think after the first goal I just started just being like, for fuck's sake.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, they've all merged into one horrific, really bad goal.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were good. And then I was just like, at what point do we pull Samsonov? Because I don't like seeing him get pulled, because obviously if you're out there doing your job that you are paid a lot of money to do, and then your coach is like, yeah, you're not good enough right now, we're going to put someone else in. It's like, yes, that's bad for your confidence, but me personally, as a goalie, I know, if I was playing bad, if I was letting in loads of goals, and if my hockey team actually had the funds to have more than one goalie, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna put the other goalkeeper in because it's not working for you today, I would much rather that happened than to play out the full game and be like solely responsible for a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's not ideal for his like mental health and his confidence to like be getting pulled as much as he is. But also at the same time, would you rather we basically spend the entire game just like leaving him out there to suffer? It's at what point do you just say fuck it and pull him?
Yeah, like, because the other thing as well that I'm like thinking about, it was like he got pulled, what, 5 goals? It was right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was 5.
Let in 5 and then got pulled. Okay. Just making sure I got my time, because like I was following the game in a combination of like Twitter notifications and NHL app notifications, and then I watched the third period, and then I watched, Buffalo score like 2 in 5 minutes, and I was like, this is a shit show. But yeah, like I think the only bright spot from that game for the Leafs was Austin Matthews being an absolute animal.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like that goal where I was like, what? Like I've seen the clip of that one. That was probably the only Leafs goal that I've seen where I was like, whoa, that was insane. Like I don't even. That was
how?
Yeah, like it was. But yeah, so that extends his 6-game goal streak Austin Matthews is on right now. Animal.
Mind blown. Like,
thank God Austin Matthews is a Leaf.
Yeah, thank fuck for Austin Matthews.
Because only thing going for the Leafs right now is that, and Morgan Riley is playing really well.
Yeah.
Which, again, what is new for the Leafs?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a common theme for the Leafs. Is
like absolutely any point if you ask how are the Leafs doing, it's we've got Austin and Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That's all we got going for us right now. But yeah, so I do like, it's unfortunate. Like you saw, I mean, I don't know if you could see it, but like Samsonov's, when he got pulled, his reaction, there was a tweet from Luke Fox, I believe, that like was like he was in the tunnel, like hiding from cameras. And he said himself too that his confidence is like shattered, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a quote he said, which to hear that from a goaltender
sucks.
And I think a lot of people have not compared him play style wise, but at least maybe mentality wise, and how he, deals with himself in the sorry, I'm just in the media, in the same way that it's like similar to Jack Campbell. If we're going to compare Leafs goalies, right?
Oh, I miss Jack Campbell so much.
Yeah. Oh, here's the direct quote from Luke Fox. But this is from Samson. I was very busy. I didn't have time to watch the post games or anything, which usually I do. But I need to figure out everything in my head. Is his quote, which
I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, here we go. So Ilya Samsonov, again from Luke Fox. Shout out to Luke Fox. Ilya Samsonov says this is the worst stretch he's been mentally in his career, which
I feel really bad for him because like at this point we have like 2 options. One of them is like
one is
give him time.
Yeah. One is give him time, and then the other one is
just keep playing him and hope it works out.
That
keep like if you carry on playing him and like giving him like more starts, it's like yes, it's good because it might
help, but
it also might completely backfire and just like
and
destroy
the other thing with that option as well is it also is how much runway do you give him? How many games to figure his shit out, essentially, to put it bluntly. How do you give him? So how much runway space do you give him to get it? You know what I mean? Before you're like, okay.
It's not.
But also as well, like, you have to think there is that secret third option, the doomsday. It's a doomsday button. It's a doomsday button, and it all depends on like how long Joseph Wool is still going to be out. Estimates is a month. We still have no timeline of like, yeah, it's a month. It's still like it could be longer. You don't know. We're saying a month based on the 6 weeks that we got with Timothy Liljegren for the same injury, right? At this point, though, with a high ankle sprain, it might as well have been broken. Like, essentially, that's what it is. It's as good as broken. It's as good as a broken ankle. But so you have to that doomsday push the big red button in case like break glass in case of emergency is call up Dennis Hildeby, which you don't want to do.
No,
you don't want to do because you've seen it with it's the same thing as when they last year called up Shelgren last season, right? I mean, I guess yes, Shelgren was always your like Marley's third goalie, but then you saw Joseph Wool. Maybe Joseph Wool was just always the better goalie. Who the fuck knows?
Is Cal at the Storm game tonight?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh, fucking start. This is just me. Yeah. Cal goes to the same hockey team
games.
He watches the same team as I do, and he's just said that that their starting goalie got hurt, which is brilliant.
As we're talking about Leafs goaltending, right?
Oh, it's just right itself.
But yeah, I'm like, sorry, I was saying about like that Dennett is calling up Dylan, but you saw the way where it's Joseph Wool had more time than Shelgren to kind of develop in the AHL, and you could say that the ceiling for both goalies is different. You know, you could say, oh, but Joseph Wool had the higher ceiling. Whatever. I'm sick of talking about player ceilings. I think that's stupid and dumb. Like, stop. Like when it comes to certain things, I was like, that's not what's important. Is talking about player ceilings. But like you think about the difference that they had in terms of their seasons, where it's Shelgren, you know, early part of the season got called up because Murray got hurt, and then Samson, like, you know, goaltending injuries, not new.
Yeah.
And then, but Joseph Wool, then he went on that crazy win streak for the Marlies, gets called up, March for a couple of games?
Yeah.
Then Murray comes back, then Murray gets hurt, then he gets called up during the playoffs, and then, you know, takes off, essentially.
Yeah.
Then he gets hurt. We're all like, fuck. But, so you think about that, and you don't, like, I think, linearly, it would be better for the Leafs in the long run, just noting on the base of the success that Joseph Wool has had, to allow Dennis Hildeby to follow a similar path.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you want to give him to as close as a full season in the AHL this year as you can, considering this is his first full season in North America playing North American hockey. He only played a handful of games with the Marlies last season before their season got cut short because they lost in the playoffs.
He played,
I want to say, what was it, like 3-4 games, I want to say?
Yeah, I think it was a lot less than that.
Oh, really?
It was, so I'm actually going to talk about the Marlies, because as someone who is a very
passionate Marlies fan.
Yeah, I'm a passionate Marlies fan, and I'm also very passionate about the correct goalie development, which is something else that I have a lot to say about today.
This is a new concept for the Leafs, and in terms of developing goalies from draft day to NHL.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, we haven't had this in such a long time. Leafs haven't done something like they're doing with, like they've done with Joseph Wool, and like they're doing right now with Dennis Hildeby since James Reimer?
Yeah.
Right? Would you say? Am I correct in saying that? And he was drafted 2009?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And it's something that for the Leafs, like as Leafs fans, we're like, you know, we know Joseph Wool isn't going to be bad when he comes back from injury. Right?
Yeah, like, obviously it's going to take him
yes,
time to get back, but he's not going to come back and like completely bomb, because I mean,
he's good.
He's good. Like, he's a great goalie, and it's like, if any of our goalies were going to get hurt, and like we had to guarantee that they would be able to bounce back from it, Joseph Wool's your best bet, because he has done it before, because he has had a very unfortunate history of starting his season with injuries, which Oh, I need to change my laptop. He has a very unfortunate history of starting his season off with various injuries, and he's like, obviously, like you can see, like now he still manages to bounce back and do pretty well for himself.
Yeah, like again, his win streak from last season with the Marlies, his AHL I think it was record breaking, right? It was like 13 wins, like it was like 13 wins or something, right? I think is what it got up to. I don't remember the exact number, but that was him returning from injury.
Yeah.
That win streak was him returning from injury. That was the result of it.
Yeah, it's like,
right?
Like now when he comes back after this, are we gonna get undefeated for the rest of the season?
Oh, I wish. Historically, he's oh, that would be so nice. Historically, he is a better goalie after injury. Not to say that we want him to get hurt so we become like I don't know, Patrick Roy or something. Like not that we want that, but like not like that's not like, but you know what I mean? Like he is a better goalie after injury. And I think, you know, the Leafs goaltending in the future is at a really good place with, you know, having Joseph, both being young. Joseph Woll's only 25. He's the same age as Austin Matthews. And having Dennis Hildeby, who's 22. Both be in the Leaf system and kind of, I think, be pieces that the Leafs aren't willing to move. Obviously, they won't move Joseph Woll. That'd be stupid. But even Dennis Hildeby falls into that pool of Leafs prospects where it's like they're unwilling to move them. You know, which that, as we know, that pool for guaranteed includes Minton and Cohen, right? Who are currently playing on Team Canada for World Juniors. Right? But yeah, so.
And like I'm someone who thinks about what happens if Woll ever leaves the Leafs. I think about that a lot, and I get sad about it. But then I also think like it's not gonna happen anytime soon, mainly because he's playing really well. He's incredibly cheap. Like
he's on League Min. He's still on his entry level contract. Yeah.
So it's like with that, it's like my ideal situation is like his contract runs out and
at the end of next season, so you re-sign him this summer.
Yeah.
If I'm Brad Living, I am re-signing Joseph Woll for this summer for 6-7 years. Maybe not the full 8 because goaltending is wishy-washy like that, but at least 6-7, and you sign him now. And so that he can't, like, you know, he can be like, I had a really good season, but you can also be like, but yeah, it was also your first full NHL season and you got hurt. And here we are signing you for what? 4 or 5?
Yeah. Like,
would that be fair? Because think about it.
I think
give him 2-3 more years, 4 or 5 for 4 or 5 more years is a bargain.
Oh yeah. Like if he carries on with like how he's been playing so far, like anything you're paying for him is a bargain.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also you have to think about it this way. Samsonov is a free agent at the end of the season. So is Martin Jones. If you think, okay, Dennis Hildeby is ready to at least back up, like you have Woll as your starter. Yeah. Dennis Hildeby is your backup. You have Dennis Hildeby on an entry level. That's a $6 million less than $6 million goaltending tandem. Yeah. That's your goaltending for less than $6 million.
Yeah, and it's like for the quality that you're gonna get from it.
Yeah. Now again, you don't know with Hildeby on how he's going to be at the AHL level, but you can base it off of how good of a start he has at the AHL right now. What, second in?
Yeah, he's second now.
Second now? Well, he was second last time we talked about him. I don't know if that has changed, but
I think on the Marlies broadcast the other night they were like, yeah, he's second.
Okay, well, yeah, in the AHL, which again. So that's my opinion on the matter. People can get mad at me all they want, but I think I'm gonna be pretty solid with that. But on the negative side of Leafs goaltending, Buffalo was not great for this team. You know it's a bad game when you're saying at least it's not 10. At least they didn't lose at least the Sabres didn't score 10 goals. But so I mean, we'll talk about goaltending a little bit longer, and then I want to talk about some other happenings in the game, just because I want to talk about Jeff Skinner. Marcie knows exactly what I'm going to bring up. But so Samsonov's current save percentage, which is an 8.71, is the lowest by the Leafs goaltender in first 14 starts since Alan Bester, which had an 8.64 in 89-90, like 1989-90 season. Which isn't good. That's not good.
No.
That's bad. And, you kind of wonder, like, what happened over the summer?
Yeah. Like, something has clearly happened. Like, yeah,
Yes,
something
he
has
has a
happened.
baby. Yes, he has a baby, but he had the baby came last season, right?
Yeah, baby was last season.
So,
yeah, because we were all losing our minds over it.
Yeah, we were all very cute baby.
In my little timeline of when Emma and Marcie absolutely lost their shit.
Which is getting fuller and fuller by the day.
It's every hour at this point.
Every hour. But yeah, like, so you can't blame it on, oh, he's got a baby, he's distracted. No. You don't know what it is. And he's getting paid a lot of money. But yeah, it also is first time that the Leafs allow 9 goals in this Sheldon Keefe era. That's something. Oh, and then I want to read this Matthews quote, because this Matthews quote is insane.
Yeah.
To hear your top goal scorer say this. Here we go. This is from David Alter. Austin Matthews. I think just collectively probably one of the worst games since I've been here. Which is crazy. Now, there's been some pretty bad games, by the way, in Matthews' era. There's been some bad games, right? I can think of probably about 3 of them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Losing to your own, one of them, losing to your own Zamboni driver. Another one, that weird, yeah, they won it, but that weird game against Detroit where the score was like 10-7 or something. I'd call that yeah, you won. I'd still call it a bad game. Right?
Yeah,
right?
Any game that you let in 7 goals is not, I don't care if you win or not. If you're letting in 7 goals in a game, that's less than a goal every 10 minutes. That's shit.
Yeah, and you can say, well, it doesn't, it doesn't matter how, it just matters how many. I'm like, it still matters how. If you want to look at the performance of a team, you still have to be like, well, they still have to, not let goals in. That's the point. Yeah. But again, also to combine it with a tweet from Luke Fox, Austin Matthews calls it an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Because, you're not at home, but you're in Buffalo, so you might as well be at home. With how many Leafs fans go to games in Buffalo?
I was looking around last night, when it showed.
There's so many empty seats. The last 5 minutes.
It was miserable because I was if you've got people that have traveled, because they've traveled.
They've still driven. Yeah, Buffalo isn't that far from Toronto. I think it's about, I want to say it's 3 hours, probably less. And it is just across the border. So it is a drive, that is something, I don't think you, people don't get a hotel for that game. You do the drive and you just get back really late. But, it's still not good.
Yeah.
I'd call it an embarrassment. Yeah. I'd call it an embarrassment. Because it was embarrassing.
Any game that I have to, when my mom asks me how it went, I have to say, I don't want to talk about it. Any game that ends like that is an embarrassment. Because I will talk to my mum about fucking awful games that Leafs have played. So if it gets to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to think about it. I want to pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
It's a bad game.
And you have to wonder what it does to the mentality of that locker room as well.
Yeah, I would not have wanted to be in the locker room after that.
Well, Sheldon Keefe said, we won't dissect it, but we won't get it, which I think means like we won't go through and nitpick each goal, but like we still have to remember that we played like shit, right? Like we still have to remember we played like crap. Like we can't play like that again. But I don't say you go through and you break down every goal against and you say what caused it, that sort of thing. But you do have to look over this. This is something. We're going into a game against Columbus in which you were down 5-0 going into the third the last time you played it, which was played that team, which is a week ago. Right? Just over a week ago.
Since you last played them, they beat the Sabres 9-4.
9-4. Yes, exactly.
It's
so
very
it's like
much something that you do have to dissect, and you do have to go, you know what?
Yeah.
It was shit. This is why. Like you
Yeah,
you can't just be like, oh yeah, we played bad.
I'm not saying that you're going, oh look, score is 7-3. They're gonna score here. Let's break down their 8th goal. No, I'm not saying go through the game like an itemized list, but yes, at least break down the game and see where all your things went wrong, because you have to talk about it. It's something you have to discuss as a team, because you're going into a game in which you're going into your next game, which is a team that has already beat you once this season and almost beat you badly until you had a monster third period. But like, right? Like,
you can't rely on
you still lost the game in overtime. It's
like you can't just bank on like, oh yeah, we'll have a really good third period.
We'll have a better game. No.
No.
You could have said, oh, going into last night's game, going into the third period, you could have been like, oh, the Leafs just have to have a really good third period, right? Because it was what, 6-3 going into the third.
Yeah.
You're down 3 goals. That's doable in 30 minutes with the Leafs and the way that they can sometimes play.
Yeah, I mean, 3 goals were still scored, but just not in the right direction.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna quit yelling about this. I think
I was getting like aggressively angry.
Oh my god. Let's talk about something else before I get aggressively before I start like full Steve Dangle yelling. So some news today. Leafs signs their 2023 draft 6th round, who's 23rd pick, Noah Chadwick, to his entry-level contract. The news came out today. The defenseman is with Lethbridge and the WHL this season and is in 30 games played, 7 goals, 17 assists for a total of 24 points. This is his 2nd full season in the WHL, and it also is a career high for him already in terms of goals and points. He also leads his team's defensemen in points and goals as well. So I've already been asked by people, I've been asked by people as well, like, what does it mean? Like, why today? Because it seems like a very random thing to do. I think part of it is having to do with his performance this season. Because he's a 6th round pick, right? So that is their, you usually wait a little bit before like a 6th round pick, you have to sit on a little bit before you sign them to an entry level contract, right? Because for that sort of thing, like, a 6th round pick is usually something you hold on to the signing, like you hold on to the signing rights of that player until you think, oh, they've proven themselves in playing the hockey that they're playing, to then sign them to their entry level contract, right? Because contract is a contract. And I think that's what this is for the Leafs and for Chadwick as well, is just, he's played some. I don't know his defensive numbers because I don't watch a lot of WHL games, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have no reason to, really, at the end of the day. But from what I can see from some basic stat lines, like, it just sounds like he's having a really good season in Lethbridge and has earned the contract. And, he's 18. So we'll see if he, plays. Again, this is decisions that will probably come over the summer as well, is whether he'll play another season in the dub or if he will join the Marlies next year. Who knows? I think, 6th round pick defenseman, leave him for the. Personally, for me, sitting right now at this position I think he can go further in terms of not hitting his ceiling in the WHL,
Yeah.
maybe probably like, he'll be 19. He's still young.
Mhm.
Have him play one more season with Lethbridge or wherever he plays in the WHL in juniors, and then when he's 20,
Yeah.
join
And
the
as
Marlies.
it'd be a different case if the Marlies desperately needed
Defenseman, which they
defensemen
seem
at the
in
end of
abundance
the
right now.
season. But the Marlies are doing just fine.
Yeah, the Marlies are doing just fine. So I think, and it's the Leafs have not had a problem in developing defensemen as well. I think I saw some people saying that they were like, oh, Leafs have a problem. I'm like, no, the defenseman that we develop is not the problem, right? Like you think about the defenseman we've developed and have played. Morgan Riley. He seems pretty all right.
He's not bad.
So when do we start the Morgan Riley for Norris conversations?
Now.
Now, I think mid-season, when we hit mid-season, we might do like an NHL awards sort of preview in terms of who we think could be like create our own little short lists for each awards. That might be something we do.
Liverpool sweeps the NHL awards.
And the Joseph Volk for Calder and Vezina. Hart.
It's just going to be a continuation of my Justin Hall for Norris campaign of last season.
Norris is going to be the Norris competition is going to be a tight battle between Morgan Riley and Brock Faber.
And then they joint win it.
If we had our way,
they both win it. Or we get like a Mean Girls situation.
They cut the trophy in half and they have to share it.
We get a Mean Girls situation where he's like, I'm not the only good defenseman. We're all the best defensemen.
Good defensemen.
He's like, throws pieces of it.
So, yeah, let us know if that's something you want to see. I think we're definitely probably going to do that as well, just to sort of add a different conversation to the podcast in a little bit of a different way as well. So we're not just talking about news all the time. We're also just, discussing some hockey tidbits as well. I wanted to save one story for the end of the podcast so we have a guaranteed high note to go off of. I guess we could probably talk about Merzlikins and Wilson. This is so silly. This is so silly of a story. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but laugh. I saw all the clips from this, and I did not watch this game. Again, I've only seen this from the game. I don't have any other context. I think a lot of people don't have a lot of context about this, but
yeah.
Elvis Merzlikins, who is the goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets, fought Tom Wilson in overtime in his net last night. What I've watched this video so many times from 7 different angles, I feel like now at this point. And I'm I don't know why. I don't know if words were exchanged. We all know how Tom Wilson is on the ice, and I think a lot of people have their own feelings on Tom Wilson. I've heard he's a very nice person off the ice, which, all right. I also know what high school he went to, and it's a very expensive Toronto private school in which a year's tuition is about the same as the tuition for 4 years of my university degree. So that tells you everything you need to know about the school, I feel like. Yeah. Anyways, I have a friend of mine who went to that school. So that's how I know it pretty well. A friend of mine went to the school. But again, when you live in
Wilson.
Yeah. Surprise. Again, like I said, everyone in Toronto knows everyone. When it comes to Toronto hockey players, what can I say? I'm connected. But I don't know, I again fought him through punches. I was like, okay. And then but the thing is, and then Ovechkin goes on to score the overtime winner to snap his 11 game goalless streak, which is very nice for my fantasy team. Thank you very much. As I'm currently losing to Cal right now
Oh no.
in fantasy. It's so depressing, and I don't know what my problem is. I don't know where the problem is in my team, and I don't know how to fix it. I seriously don't know how to fix it without like trading players. I don't know where my problem is. I think it's my goaltending.
Yeah, my
I
goaltending.
think I have to. I'm this close to dropping Elias Samsonov. I'm so sorry. And picking
know
up, I don't
what?
know, something quick and just having my goaltending be New York Rangers.
You know what? I would respect that. I mean, I can't remember who I'm up against, but before yesterday, I was losing by a good 20 points, and I'm now winning by 15. I got 54 points last night. Thank you, Nathan McKinnon.
Oh my God, Nathan McKinnon went like God mode.
Yeah, someone put a rocket up his
Dick
ass
trick?
and just went,
Dick trick?
"Dick trick?"
He did get a dick trick, but yeah, so anyways, yeah, Dylan Strome, what he said. Did you see that tweet where it was like someone was like, "Oh, you don't have to be an expert to lip read Dylan Strome after Ovechkin's OT winner of what he was saying to Merzlikins."
What? No, I didn't see that.
Oh my God, I don't know if I can find the exact tweet anymore because it was so long ago. Oh my God, my like hold on. Okay, my volume is off before I like. I'm trying.
I always get really scared. Like if I'm trying to find a video and I play it, like I think
It's gonna like blast in the.
Yeah, was it? It was last episode where we were talking about. I found the video of Joseph Wall kicking.
Yeah.
That play. Yeah, I accidentally started playing on like full volume from my laptop,
Here we
and I
go.
was like,
Okay, I found it. Here. Do.
"Well, Dylan, what's he like?" But no, I think that entire fight was just absolutely insane.
Oh,
And,
it
like,
was. It was crazy.
Like, I was just like happy. Well, I wasn't happily scrolling through Twitter. I was scrolling through Twitter in a relatively tipsy state, thinking, "Oh my fucking God, why do I watch the Leafs?" And then I just get a video.
I think every Leafs fan was having that feeling last night.
Yeah. I love how every time the Leafs lose, I just resort to let's open CapCut and see what damage I can cause.
No, because also, anyways, about Joseph, like he pulled away from that huddle to yell. Should I say this podcast gets marked as explicit every time because I end up swear. We could record this episode. We could record the podcast without any swearing, but we both swear like sailors.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian. Marcie is Northern, so
yeah. I was born swearing.
Exactly. He says, "Fuck you, Elvis. Fuck you, Elvis. Fuck you, Elvis." Like he yells it, and like he pulls away from the team huddle to yell this at. I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay, Dylan.
Where's this come from?
Where has this come from Dylan Strome? But so after the game though, Columbus's coach, I actually don't know his name. I'm sorry. Cited that incident between Merzlikins and Wilson as the reason for the game as the reason why they lost the game, because it put Washington on the power play, and I think in that situation, like when I don't watch enough Capitals games to know if Ovechkin is on there. It does get sent out for overtime. I don't think so with how I wouldn't imagine it with how slow he's been playing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think you probably watch more Caps games than me, and
I really don't. I will watch. I just don't have the time right now. I think, you know what? When I'm starting once I start working full time in January, I think I'll have more time to just watch hockey games at night. So
Yeah.
I think maybe then I'll be watching more Caps games. Because I'll just be watching whatever game. I'll pick a game and I'll watch that. But yeah, just so I don't know, but I think for sure, definitely guaranteed. Like when you're on the power play, like when the Caps are on the power play in overtime, you send out Ovechkin and put him in his office and just let him go to work, and that's exactly what happened. So obviously, to have something that you did though be cited as the reason for why you lost the game, and it what does that do? Like that can't be fun as a player to hear from your coach, right? Like it's different when it's like, you know, whatever members of the media, or it's like some two idiots with a podcast. Right? It's different. It's definitely different, right? When it's your own coach saying that. So definitely something
And
that
like, what does that sounds like a message to the entire team. It's like, if you
absolutely.
It's like, I'm your coach, and it's like, if you fuck up,
I'm not afraid to say this.
Hold you responsible for the whole loss. And it's like, I wouldn't be too pleased to
ask me if I wanted lunch. Anyway, okay. So that's done with that conversation. Can I talk about the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, I suppose I'll let you talk about the Minnesota Wild.
I've let Marcie talk about the Buffalo Sabres so many times, and now I finally have a team that's not the Leafs that I want to talk about, and that team is the Minnesota Wild. The Wild, the way I titled this section in my notes, though, was really funny. I said "Wild are okay?" ? Because like they fired their coach, and have hired a new coach. Obviously, not the first team this season to do it, and they weren't the last.
Nope.
But the Wild currently are 7-3-0 in their last 10 games, which I think is pretty good. Which I'd call that a good run of games for sure. They also, to keep in mind as well, they are like quite a few of their players are hurt as well. I specifically wrote down the defenseman that they're missing, because I want to talk about Brock Faber's ice time. Yelling the poor kid. So the team is still missing Spurgeon and Broden on their blue line. But then also notably last night, when they played Montreal, Ryan Hartman wasn't in the lineup as well. And I think they're missing another forward hurt, because they've had quite a few call-ups. And also Marco Rossi with the Gordie Howe hat trick last night against Montreal, the first of his career. Way to go. But yeah, Brock Faber has been clocking in the ice time. He's been playing really well. I think, there was a stat I saw a couple days ago where it was like he's in the so this is prior to tonight's game against last night's game against Montreal, where it was like in the last 4 games he's like a +1 and was only like on the ice for like 1 5-on-5 goal against the Wild. But yeah, so his last 5 games of ice time have been 30-37, 31-34, 28-18, 30-19, and last night against Montreal, he clocked in a 33-25. 33 minutes. Now, his career actually has followed a very scarily similar path to Matthew Knies when we talk about like how they've made it to the NHL, in terms of they both played for Minnesota last year. Actually, Brock Faber was Matthew Knies' captain. And so when they lost in the final four, the Frozen Four, at the NCAA level last year in Tampa, both joined their respective NHL teams to finish out the season. So the Minnesota Wild have found themselves in a bit of a hole in terms of just where they are in the standings. They're 7th in the Central Division right now, but they are only 4 points back from a wild card spot. So it is still very, very tight in the Central in terms of, you can move up and down that order very, very quickly with a win or a loss. So I mean, I think if they keep it up the way that they have in the past, in this stretch of games that they've had as of lately, since they fired their head coach, because I think this last 10 has been since he got fired, right? Am I correct in saying that? Because it wasn't too many episodes ago that we talked that news broke.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also to talk about Marc-Andre Fleury, besides his usual pranking antics he was up to against other teams and his own team, he is 3 wins away from taking. Actually, no, I think has that stat changed? I don't know, but he's inching closer to taking second all time in terms of goalie wins. I think if I remember correctly, he's either 2 or 3 wins. In that aspect. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he's 3 away from passing Patrick Roy for second most in all time in NHL history. And he's only 3 games away from 1,000 games played.
That's insane.
So, it's, so that's, which is a huge, 1,000 games is a huge milestone for a goaltender.
Mm.
You think about Marc-Andre Fleury, he's in his 20th season in the NHL. So, and you think, okay, it's taken him 20 years essentially to hit 1,000 games played, and he is, played in a lot of full, I put in quotations, for the most part, full seasons, right?
Yeah.
So again, so when the Minnesota Wild took on the Pittsburgh Penguins, he pranked all 3 of Chris Letang, which we knew when the game started that he had switched the helmets he had switched Chris Letang's helmet. So from their home and away, I think they were supposed to wear their black helmets, and he switched it to a white helmet. And the only reason why Letang didn't go out with the wrong helmet for warm-ups is the equipment manager said something, because had he gone out, he would have gotten fined. But the fact that he didn't notice. And then another one is he got Malkin with some tape in the visor, which is a classic. And even Malkin said he was like, it's a weak, it's a weak one. It's a weak prank. Do better.
No,
Probably,
it's not challenging.
Yeah. Which, probably he said, that's not a direct quote. He probably said it in a very Evgeny Malkin way, We know how he speaks. And then he also, the funniest one for me, and this came actually from the Pittsburgh Penguins team reporter, which the fact that they have a teams reporter, I love that. I'm a huge fan of the way the Pittsburgh Penguins have a team reporter that sort of provides an inside scoop. It's really great from a fan interaction or interactive perspective and experience as well. But apparently Fleury also got Crosby in a way that we don't know, but he got him twice, something involving his car and something involving his laundry. And then Crosby's quote on the matter was I can't even remember what he said. It was something where it was oh, he's gonna have to watch his back. I'll get him back for that one.
They really are just a teenage girlfriend group.
Oh yeah. But
I love that for them.
I know I'm trying to find that you sent a tweet involving oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh no, that's not the one I was looking for. But anyways. And then also as well, he got his own teammate. So during periods between, so when the Wild were playing Boston the other night, Brendan Duhaime chirped Marc-Andre Fleury by calling him 50 while talking about while praising his performance. And yeah, Fleury got revenge by taking Brendan Duhaime's clothes. And the pictures that result from it are so funny because to describe them, it's Brendan Duhaime wearing bright blue suit pants, and the ugliest jacket I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like this brown plaid, like small check, like plaid, with a small pattern on it, plaid jacket, like this ugly tan one with this like leather fur, not leather, but this like brown fur collar to it. And he's shirtless, like that's all he's wearing. And I think for me, the funniest part about these pictures is if you look at Doer's face. Because Doer's also in the pictures. And he looks horrified. He looks like he was walking and Duhame like caught up behind him and like tapped him on the shoulder and like he turned around and he was like, what the fuck am I looking at? And the quote from Fleury is, Fleury then sent a text. I don't know who this is via text. And then Fleury said via text, haha, I'm sure he will find them somewhere.
He's such a menace.
Which, like, where did they go?
It's like, oh, I'm sure I'll find them somewhere. And it's
They're like from the flagpole in front of like the Wild Arena or something.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not being funny, but somewhere could be, like, I've just hidden them like in the locker room somewhere. Or somewhere could be like, I sold them on eBay.
Has anyone checked eBay for like official
player one?
like pre-game worn Brandon Duhame clothes.
Auction them off.
Or he's put them in a box and have shipped them back to Brandon Duhame's house, and eventually he will just get a package on his front doorstep that he will open, and it'll be his own suit with a note. Like, you can tell that the Percy Jackson TV show has come out this week, where it's like it's like Medusa's head.
Oh my god.
Sent them back, But yeah, and I did actually find the quote from Sidney Crosby where it said, yeah, Marc-Andre, again, this is back on the prank that he pulled on Sidney Crosby. So Marc-Andre Fleury pranked Crosby both before and after the game on Monday against Pittsburgh. What is known is that this sounds so like mysterious. What is known is that the pranks involved Crosby's car and laundry. I think probably which are the two safest things of Sidney Crosby that you could mess with and not get murdered.
Yeah.
Right? But like also like Crosby loves Fleury, and then Crosby said in response to the pranks, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'll respond accordingly.
Which is the
horrifying.
Most
horrifying.
It's horrifying, but it's also like the most Sidney Crosby thing that anyone could ever say.
That's horrifying. We have so that's all we want to talk about, but now we're going to go through some Elliot Friedman tweets because we just got another one.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did. According to NHL Public Relations and also via Elliot Friedman as well, the National Hockey League Commissioner Gary Bettman, that's so official, today affirmed the 6-game suspension that was assessed to Detroit Red Wings forward David Perron. So that was on the cross-check to the head and resulting attack on Artem Zub after in the game where Dylan Larkin got injured. Larkin's already back in the lineup as well for the Red Wings. Not to be like, oh, like he just, whatever. Anyways, we're not gonna continue talking about that. But so this is via Elliot Friedman. Bettman upholds Perron's suspension. He returns tonight, but has the option to appeal an independent arbitrator in hopes of getting some salary returned. So the 6 games are up already. Tonight's his first game back after the 6 games, but I think, it's like it was $141,000 or something that he lost in salary for missing 6 games, which, I guess for these guys probably is a large amount of money. That's like a year. The crazy thing about that is that's like a high yearly salary for someone. Right?
Like that.
And he makes that in 6 games. Anyways, and still NHLers are underpaid compared to the rest of professional athletes on average. That's craziness.
Yeah. Which is
but
why
yeah,
I think when we re-sign Joseph Wall, we should pay him 60 million per year.
Because I'm sure the old hockey, the hockey Twitter, the uncles on hockey Twitter would love the fact that his jersey number is worked into his contract deal. I'm sure that will make everyone really, really happy about all the people who got so mad about fucking Marner's contract. I think it is that has like 16 worked into it or something. Was it Marner's contract that had like 16 worked into it somehow? Or like 93? Anyways.
Probably something.
Yeah, I'm sure that, right? In other news as well, this is also from NHL Public Relations, but Elliot Friedman reposted it, and that's why we got the notification. So this is regarding the NHL and NHLPA announced today that Avalanche defenseman Samuel Girard has been cleared to resume practicing with the team and has entered the follow-up care phase of the NHL and NHLPA player assistance program. So hi, Mom. Yeah. Hi. Was it earlier? Was it at the start of the season, or was it earlier this season that he entered that program?
I think it was earlier this season. Although
I can't remember if he started the season or if it was before the season started, but good to see that, he's gotten the help he needed and is ready to return to playing hockey.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't know what that means in terms of like with the holiday freeze and stuff, and if you can move because there is a holiday freeze until the 28th, right? Where players there's a limit on the moves you can make with players. I think you can only call players up in emergency situations. And there's some wacky rules on how you can carry more players. Like you can carry more than 23 players on your roster, which is what the Buffalo Sabres are currently doing. And there's no trades, there's no waivers, whatever, right? So again, but I think for sure as well, like we won't, not that he's gonna make a return before that date in terms of like coming back to a game, but
yeah.
Something to keep in mind. Do you have anything to add, or should we go into our special holiday segment?
I have a little
Buffalo Sabres?
A little bone to pick with the Buffalo Sabres. Just a little one.
Go ahead.
In the form of I have paragraphs of just
little bone to pick.
Yeah, a little bone to pick in the form of like 6 paragraphs.
Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead.
So, in the Buffalo Sabres, in their lovely, lovely 9-4 loss to the Blue Jackets, they pulled Devon Levi. They started Devon Levi, which I will get onto that in a minute. They started him, and then they pulled him less than 8 minutes into the second. And then they're like, oh, well, if we're going to have to pull Devon Levi, I suppose we should, give Luukkonen a chance. So they put Luukkonen in. It was a shit show. I'm not going to talk about the game because similarly to the Leafs game, I just want to forget it happened. And yes, recently, in the last day or two, it has all but been confirmed that with Devon Levi's contract, there was I've seen like a lot of people talking about it like as a conspiracy theory on Twitter, where it's like Devon Levi signed with the Sabres, and a big reason of why he did that is because they basically guaranteed him the starting position, and they were like, we won't send you down, we will play you, and that is a big part of why he signed with the Sabres. That's all but been confirmed in the last few days. which I think is a really shitty thing to do, because first off, like, you're gonna go as like people who are like, who know how the league works, and you're gonna go, oh yeah, hi, you're a young goalie who's like coming out of college, and you will do anything to play in the NHL because it's like your dream, it's what you want to do. And it's very, like, they completely took advantage of Devon Levi, and were like, yeah, if you sign with us, we will play you, we'll give you the starting spot, which is a bad thing to do, first off, because, as I have said one or two times on this podcast, you don't bring a player straight from college and give them a starting position in the NHL. You don't do that. You give them a few years in the American League to develop. Because that's quite important to, like, for making the big step up from college to NHL. You need to develop. And I am starting to sound like a broken record with this, because I think I have talked about the Sabres in every single podcast episode so far. But yeah, so like, now we know that it's basically confirmed that in Lever's contract, or at least to get him to sign the contract, he was guaranteed to be like prioritized when it comes to goaltending and the Sabres. It's really shit for Luukkonen, because like in most games that he's played for them this season, but especially recently, every single time he has started, the entire team has just fallen apart in front of him. And like, he's been like getting the losses, but not because it's his fault. The team is falling apart in front of him. So it's like there's a big problem with the entire team at the moment, and just like needing to just step back and sort themselves out, because it's just not fun. But it's like, when, like, I just know it's not a good environment to be in as a player, but especially as a goaltender right now, to like basically sit there and have it confirmed that you as a goaltender are just an afterthought for your team, because that is gonna like fuck you up. So yeah, send Devon Levi back down to the AHL to let him develop, because yes, he's on a winning, like, he's winning more at the moment. He also had that absolutely fucking horrific game against the Blue Jackets, which, surprise, surprise, happens when you take a goalie straight from college and put them in the NHL. Like, oh my god, I sent a very angry voice note to you last night as well, which basically
you did, and I never actually got around to listening to it because I was at family friend's place for dinner, and then as soon as I got home, because I was so tired that I immediately passed out and like slept. And then
you're gonna have fun listening to it.
And then I've been driving around all day before we recorded this.
So yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun listening to that one.
I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll listen to it as my bedtime story before I go to sleep.
We have nightmares.
Nightmares.
But yeah, this is the way that the Buffalo Sabres are managing and treating their goalies is not the way to do it. You can't expect people to be good. Like, if Devon Levi's performance against the Blue Jackets isn't the start of him basically burning out because he's being overworked, and if this isn't the start of like his slow descent into, this is what happens when you don't properly develop your goalies, I'd be surprised. Send him back down, because his little stint in the HL
wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, but it's like they're not gonna send him back down, which is what pisses me off more, because it's like, this is important. Like,
yeah, and this is something that you are not gonna want to do. Like, if you want to develop Devon Levi in a way that makes sense, you're gonna want to send him down to the AHL now while he's still waivers exempt. before you end up in a situation similar to what Edmonton had to do with Jack Campbell, which is like, yes, no one was probably going to claim Jack Campbell off of waivers because of the salary that they have to carry. But, you still don't want putting, a goalie on waivers in the hopes that they claim him. Probably also the same with what Carolina had to do with Ranta as well. Like, if you put Devin Levi, you wait until he's, he has to be put on waivers to get sent down, which again, I don't know when that is because I don't know the details of his contract. You don't want to do that. You don't want to put him on waivers. There's a chance he could get claimed.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, and you know what? As much as I love the Sabres, if they do put him on waivers, if they do have to put him on waivers, I hope he gets claimed, and I hope he goes to a team that will properly develop him. Same goes for Luukkonen, because I can and will start wars.
It's wasted talent in Luukkonen if you're going to continue the way that you are with him.
Yeah, like I've literally, my notes, I've just put all caps, trade Luukkonen, and then just trade him, please. Like, it's wasted potential. It's really fucking him over, because if you're gonna basically give him like the occasional start that then the entire team falls apart in front of him, and like if you're gonna treat him as an afterthought and be like, yeah, I suppose we'll put him in, it's like that's not gonna do his stats any favors either, which is gonna make it harder. It's gonna make it less likely that someone will trade for him.
Yeah,
because it's like his stats aren't good. I say aren't good in a not his fault way, because like I don't have his stats up currently at the moment, but he is a good goalie. Like if you watch the way he plays and the way he moves and like how he actually like looks at the game, he is an incredible goaltender. And as someone who loves him to bits, it sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks to see him just be like the second option. It's like, it's not good for his development. It's not good for his mental health. And you know what? At this point, if the Sabres want to become like a sinking ship, they're doing a really good job at that right now.
Yeah.
A really good job. So you know what? Let them do it. Let them sink. Let them crash and burn.
We say this about the Buffalo Sabres as if they're not just coming off a 9-3 win over the Leafs.
No, yeah.
Who is second in their division.
But if they want to carry on like this, and by carry on like this, I do not mean beating the Leafs fucking 9-3. Like
consistency is important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I've put in my notes, if you're gonna mismanage your goalies, fucking commit to it.
Go full all or nothing, full send or no send. Is that all you have to say about Buffalo?
Yeah. I think I'll go full on Steve Dangle.
All right. So as it is our last proper episode before we go into a bit of a break for Christmas, as well, and as we also go into the NHL's Christmas break, this will be our last live recorded, I guess you could say, episode before the NHL goes into their break. We are going to do something a little bit special, and we are going to name what is on our wish list to get for Christmas from the hockey gods. If they are nice to us, perhaps we will get them under our tree this year. Marcie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I am hoping for a quick, speedy, and nice, healthy recovery for Joseph Paul.
That's actually half of what I have. Mine was a little bit more broad, but yeah. Go on.
Because I want him to come back as soon as he feels able to.
Yeah.
And I want him to have a really good, like, I want a 14-game win streak.
14. Let's, all the Lego, hopefully he's having a good time. Well,
Oh, yeah.
as good as time as you can have being injured. He's building, I don't know, building some Lego, reminiscing about his trip to Europe by going through old pictures.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Not sitting in the same box as Giordano, Muzzin, and Matt Murray. Was he not invited to the old man box?
Yeah, was he not like, their little, oh, isn't he so sweet?
You're so mature for your age, Joseph.
And he sat there just like, thank you, as I like continue talking about.
When were you born again? Oh, 1996. Oh, I remember 1996.
I remember what I was doing in 1996.
I remember what I was doing in 1996. Playing some good old. Probably for Mark Giordano, it's like I was playing, junior hockey.
I'm hoping
sorry.
Speedy recovery for Joseph Wall.
Yeah.
And I have two little branches of this Christmas wish. Dear hockey gods, please, for my sake, for Emma's sake, and for Joseph Wall's sake, give him the start on February 19th against the St. Louis Blues at home. Well, away, but at home for him.
In St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis local,
Give him
yeah.
the start.
Give him the start.
I have multiple tweets about it drafted already.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And I
should probably get on that.
Yeah, you know what I'm like. I draft tweets for every situation.
Yeah, true. You did have that Bobby McMahon tweet in your drafts for a while.
He got full government named.
Which oh my god, the way that's not information that's on his Wikipedia page, and how you have to go to like his college roster page for that, and it's like you have to scroll down to the bottom to like the fun facts section. Anyway.
Yeah.
There's a reason this podcast is named From the Fourth Line. But yeah, so for me, I guess I have down Leafs goaltending. I hope they solve their issues for obvious reasons, but we did spend a lot of time talking about that. So I guess I will say I have one big thing, and that is the Leafs need to be better against bottom 6 teams. The Leafs are 1, 2, and 3 against bottom 6 teams. They need to be good against teams that are bad. Because yes, at the end of the day, you want to win in the playoffs. And when you play in the playoffs, you are playing teams that are not bad, right? You're not playing your bottom 6. You're not playing bottom 6 teams in the playoffs. Right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But in order to get to the playoffs, you still have to win games. And you want to win games. You want to get those quote unquote easy wins. No win is easy, but you want to be able to get those quote unquote easy wins or win the games that you should be winning. You need to, when the winner meter is in your favor, you want to be winning those games. Yeah. And I think, that's always been a problem for the Leafs is, they should be beating teams that they're not beating the teams that they should beat. And, I know anyone, what it seems like, what people always say is that the only thing Leaf fans care about is how we do in the playoffs, which is true. But also at the same time, you still want to see your team, it's a little bit disheartening when you watch, your team that, came off of a 7-0 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins to be winning, you want them still, and then to see them lose 9-3 to the Buffalo Sabres, you want that. And so, yeah, just that was another thing. And, I want, a nice quiet break where Brock Faber doesn't do anything. That's what the other thing on my Christmas wish list after the game time he has. But no, anyways, but that was my thing. That was my wish list item for me. Both Leaf related for both of us, but shocker, surprise. Yeah. I guess also as well, if we're going general hockey gods, I want a World Juniors win for Team Canada this year. Make three-peat, and then they can try to bring it home again in Ottawa next year. But I actually have one of my sister's friends is going to the World Juniors, like going to Sweden. I found that insane. I was like, that's crazy.
Mad.
Imagine.
Like,
I was
good
like,
for them.
good for her. I was like, oh, have a great time. I wish I could go to Sweden to watch the World Juniors this year. That would be so nice. But I am not, unfortunately. But so we just have one last thing. I think before we're this feels so much calmer than we were at the start of the episode.
At the start we were just like all over the place, and now we're
We're
just like
so much more calm. But let's
we've
talk
said our
about-
piece.
We've said our piece. Now we have our good news story of the episode. Kind of. Oh, I mean, I guess it's also general hockey news, but we're ending the episode out on a high note. So New Jersey had their Pride Night last night. New Jersey Devils against the Edmonton Oilers, and multiple New Jersey players wore the Pride jerseys, which looked sick. By the way, I thought they looked so cool. They were designed. They were designed by a local queer artist as well. They wore them into the arena in the walk-in pictures. Now I don't know if every player wore them, but we did see quite a few wear them, including, because I know people are going to ask, including both Hughes brothers. But so did Timo Meyer. I think, Hirscher wore his as well, because I did see it with the C on it. And I think there was a couple others. As well. I could probably pull up the pictures. I pull up the pictures as well. And I think this is a great way to oh my god, I'm so face blind with these guys. What's the one? Oh, John Marino. I was like trying to think. I was like, what's the one that everyone was freaking about how he cut his hair a couple days ago? And oh my god, who oh, I know him. I just don't remember his name. Oh my god. Can you tell we don't watch the New Jersey Devils?
Yeah, that combined with the lovely joys of ADHD face blindness.
Oh my god, yeah. So also as well, there's a jersey auction for the Pride jerseys as well that you can find the link to on the New Jersey Devils Twitter if you really, really love the jerseys and I think all the proceeds are going to a local charity as well. That supports but yeah. And note as well that I wanted to mostly bring this up as well. The mascot, the New Jersey Devil mascot, wore one throughout the entire game, which I think is a great way for teams to sort of, get around the NHL's ban on specialty jerseys worn during warmups. Just, have your mascot wear one during the whole game. I don't think the league, if the league starts regulating what the mascots wear during a game, they're gonna. Where do you draw the line? Because then there's Gritty. Gritty goes through at least three costume changes a game, right?
Yeah.
So props to the New Jersey Devils for finding a way to still have the jersey being worn throughout warm-ups and the game as well by putting it on the mascot. And then there was also several Edmonton Oilers players as the visiting team who had pride tape on their sticks, which I love. I love when you are a visiting team and you you put pride tape on your sticks during another team's Pride Night. I think that speaks volumes about where you about your support for sure. Like you saw quite a few Leafs players doing it because they played in quite a few Pride Nights as well as the visiting team. But the Edmonton players were the ones that I saw. I know there could be more. I just didn't see pictures of them and I didn't watch the game. Was McDavid, Draisaitl, Skinner, and Nugent Hopkins. So those were the four that I saw pictures of. Again, there could have been more, and I just didn't see them. And if there is, let me know. And that's great. I like shouting out. As queer fans, it does feel really nice to have players do something like that, for sure. And then also on the New Jersey Devil side, the only player that I saw was Curtis Lazar, who had pride tape.
Yeah, there was I was like scrolling through Twitter and there was a big thing, like a lot of people were like, it's a bit embarrassing when the visiting team
has more players. Wearing
has
pride
more
tape.
players wearing pride tape than your own home
Yeah.
team.
And like some people, like, you know, you'll have players who are saying being like, but I don't, you know, I don't like playing with pride tape on the blade of my stick, and I don't want to tape a stick just for warm-ups. You can get around that. We saw how Fraser Mitten did it for the Saskatoon Blades Pride game, where he had it as like the candy cane stripe down the shaft of his stick. Or you saw actually as well how John Tavares does it, where he puts it around, like just around the shaft, right under where he puts his kids' names. So you can do it, and like it's still, you know, and it still says
it doesn't
whatever.
affect.
It doesn't affect, you know, it
anything.
being on the blade, right? Because, you know, I get it, like not wanting to have to tape a whole stick just for warm-ups, like whatever. It's not like you're paying for them. Pay for your sticks. But yeah, so at the same time, it is still something cool where, you know, a team, I guess, as well, also in terms of what the New Jersey Devils did, puts that much effort into having specialty jerseys and having the one made for the mascot and having the mascot wear it the full game, and then having the jerseys available for auction is still, you know, pretty cool. And especially just knowing, like, out of, you know, not to say like not all teams in the NHL have young fan bases, but the New Jersey Devils definitely have a younger fan base among the average in the NHL. I feel like I don't know how you can scientifically prove that, but in terms of online presence, it certainly is a younger, and obviously people are going to point to reasons to why, but we don't care about that. But it is good, you know, to see that, especially, you know, kind of knowing how their fan base works, but as well.
Yes.
So I think, anyways, that's our little happy note as well. And even, anyways, I just want to talk about how cool that is as a Pride fan to see that, you know, as a Pride fan, Jesus, as a queer fan.
I'm a fan of Pride.
I mean, I am, but right, but you know, and so yeah, that's all we have to talk about. Look at that. This is a longer episode. Oh, do you have something? You look like you have something.
It's very, very quick, but as is obviously very clear, we are currently in the middle of the Brock Besser revenge tour because the Vancouver Canucks are currently leading the league, which is not something that I think anyone saw coming.
I know we didn't talk about the Vancouver Canucks or Brock Besser. I feel like we spent so long talking about Austin Matthews' goals not to, you know, point out that Brock Besser is like steps behind him. Right? Like nipping at the heels.
Yeah, I think he's on 23 goals.
Yeah, no, it was like they were like for a while they were going back and forth of like, you know, Austin Matthews scores, you know, to take the lead, and then Brock Besser is gonna, like, you know, made it Chicago's problem.
Yeah. But that's just
which I think I said last episode as well on Monday. But yeah, so just
Canucks.
Way to go to the Canucks, honestly. Like, not gonna lie, and I honestly didn't see less for them at the start of the season.
Oh no,
I don't think anyone did.
I'm not being funny. Like, I love the Canucks, but last year I had them down as my emotional support failure team.
Now you have the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, now I had the Buffalo Sabres. Like, I had the Ducks and the Canucks as my emotional support failure teams last season.
Yeah,
the Ducks are still there. They always will be.
Well, speaking of the Ducks as well, Mason McTavish and Jamie Drysdale were back in the lineups for the Ducks last night as well.
Yeah,
which good for them. But like, I think because not that I can remember, they didn't make a lot of huge changes to their lineup this offseason.
No, it was.
With the major now in hindsight, looking back on their first 30-some games, would the major pickup of their season be Sam Lafferty from the Leafs?
Yeah.
No, I'd have to look at like who they got during the off season for this team. I can't think of any big name besides Sam Lafferty, but that could be the Leafs bias in me.
Oh, I miss a little.
I miss Eggman. I have this little meme that I made where it was all the bald and balding Leafs players that I could think of, past and present. Like at the time, the only former Leaf in there was Matt Sundin. and I was like, oh, look at all these bald leaves I got, and they were all photoshopped into an egg carton. And it was like also coaches as well, because I had Carberry in there, and now they're all gone except for like Austin Matthews and Mark Giordano.
Oh god.
It was like there was like quite a few in there that I had in there too. It was like, and they're like all gone.
It's a sad existence.
But yeah, well, yeah. So
Oh,
anyway,
news for you. The Vegas Golden Knights signed Ben Hutton to a 2-year extension.
hey, shout out to noted former Leafs legend Ben Hutton, who played all of 4 games for them. Um, way to go, Ben. Also Stanley Cup winner as well, with the Vegas Golden Knights. That's really great, actually. I love. Congrats to Ben Hutton. Way to go. How that's actually really good for him. He's actually very solid. I guess. Yeah, he was a very. I found it. I'm gonna send. Sorry, I just gotta send it to Simon. Before I forget about it. But yeah, he's been a very solid bottom line defenseman for them, and has even been getting some top line minutes as well. I think with injuries and just how he's been playing. But yeah, he's a former Canuck player. He's my like favorite guy for when I play Puck Doku as well, because he's played for like 5 different teams now at this point, included like actually 4. He's done Canucks, Leafs, Ducks, Kings, and now Vegas. So that's 5. Yeah, that's 5. So anyways, if you need a solid, if it's like Leafs and Kings or something, I think is like what will get you the lowest uniqueness score, is Ben Hutton. He's from the Ottawa region. I know him through some connections with my boyfriend Simon and his family. Not know him, I know of him. I'm like, anyways, it's like my weird connection where I'm like, I need to just get invited to the right wedding, and we could have like a direct line to like Phil Kessel.
I was gonna say like, oh, you can be like, hey, so Phil Kessel, am I right?
Yeah, who apparently is a very nice guy and is very funny from things I've heard from certain people, which we knew that already as well. I feel like that's no surprise. But yeah, so anyways, congrats to Ben Hutton.
Good for her.
Good for him, yeah. Anyways, I think that's going to end it for this episode. This is a really long one for us. This is a longer one for us. But yeah, just because we didn't give one to you guys yesterday, we wanted to make it longer, just because also you guys won't hear from us in a, up-to-date capacity in a non-pre-recorded, like, I guess these are all pre-recorded, but at the time, yeah, because we record these episodes the same day we upload them. So this will be the last time you guys will hear from us until the 28th, which is a Thursday. Until next Thursday, there's no live episode on Monday. There will be an episode on Monday. We have talked about it multiple times on the podcast, and it feels really bad now if we don't get to it. So
yeah,
we're probably going to record that tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I've got.
Do you have time? Okay, neither do I. Okay, solid. Anyway, we're both nearing like our, it's a different, we're both at home now, so it's like,
yeah, it's like I have to think like, has my mom anything?
Yeah, but yeah, so thank you so much for listening. You're to another episode of From the Fourth Line. This is our 10th episode of the show as well. I didn't mention it at the start of the show, but this is our 10th episode. This is great. No, we've had a blast doing this, and we also always thank you guys for the support. It brings so much joy to us to hear you guys tweet at us or DM us or whatever. Talk about, just saying how much you love the show and how much you enjoy what we're doing, and it's really great, and it makes us have so much more fun doing this as well. And yeah, so if you aren't already, you can go follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line, and that's fourth with a 4 instead of spelling it out, as well as it's Cal, as well as you can follow both of us on Twitter. You can follow Marcie at 60 Leafs, and you can follow me at Pearby1. Of course, also, as always, all that information will be available in the show notes, including today will be our last episode before the deadline to donate to Sick Kids. Donate to the Sick Kids Foundation, where Samsung Canada will match all donations up to $100,000. Throwing that in one last time before that, I don't want to say promotion, but before that, matching of donations period ends. And yeah, thank you for listening. Have a happy holidays to those who celebrate holidays around this time of year. Have a safe, happy holidays, and we will see you next time.
Christmas.
After Christmas, yeah. Eat some good food.
Mm.
Enjoy yourself. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.